Earlier today, there was an angry debate on my Facebook feeds. There's a myth propagating around that the death rate from COVID-19 is a lot smaller, about 9,000 people over the last, or in the United States only, over the last 6 months. But it turns out there's a nugget of truth to it. That of the 180,000 deaths so far, only 6,000 of them did not have any comorbidities. And I actually think that's partly true, partly false. Let me get to why. That first week of that quarantine, I had gone to a grocery store, just like that one over there. Not that exact store because that was in Seattle, but it was in Albertsons. And the beer aisle was a mess. Everybody was grabbing beer left and right. And there were broken bottles, there was spilled beer, but there was a huge mountain of Corona beer that nobody wanted anymore. I kind of felt sorry for Corona. But so apparently it's not politically correct to say coronavirus anymore. We have to call it COVID-19 because the beer company and a few other companies that happen to have that name in it. So we're telling people to social distance, to put on a mask, but no mention of doing something about your other comorbidities, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see a ban on beer or any other food item, but at the same time, if you're going to tell people to social distance, and social distancing might contribute only the 9,000 cases, the comorbidity was contributing the how many cases? 170,000. And yet you're not even going to mention. In fact, the junk food is essential business, right? You might not be able to go to see your doctor, but throughout the whole crisis, you could get junk food left and right. And it just goes to show our priorities. During the crisis, I stopped some of my bad habits, especially the compulsive eating problem. See, I have a little catchphrase now. Before I reach for any food, I question myself. I have a checklist. Do I really need this food? Am I actually hungry? And just like when you walk into a store, there's always a poster. Are you feeling a fever? How's your temperature? In fact, they were taking your temperature as you were going into the store at one time. And I call it practicing dietary distancing. When I put some distance in between me and reaching for my food, right? I always remind myself, dietary distancing. And it's kind of funny because I'm actually having so many times where I feel like I want to reach for something, and I realize, oh, I don't need to, and then I go out and do something even more fun. Now, the big problem is that I was just thinking about, thank God I don't have to tackle this problem anytime soon, but I was just thinking about what's going to happen when I travel to Japan. See, I'm here in Missoula, which is similar to Seattle, similar choices of foods. I got at least 50 more years to eat whatever I want if I don't have it today, right? The problem is when I go to Tokyo, the same logic doesn't apply anymore. I only spend weeks there at a time, right, at most. And I wonder how well dietary distancing is going to work when I don't have the fallback. I can just have it tomorrow or next week. I'll have to think about that. I was just thinking about how I'll handle that challenge. You see, I love to challenge. A lot of Americans, they hate any sort of learning curve. If you tell people to stay 6 feet away, and it's a learning curve, they have to think about how to get groceries. And they just completely shut off, and they go buy some Corona beer, right? It's just stupid. They think that okay, they're overweight, they have high blood pressure from eating all this crap, from taking prescription drugs, taking antidepressants because they can't handle their life. And now, this virus that would have only killed 9,000 people, oh, it's my freedom to live life however I want. Yeah, but so you would rather stay 6 feet away than to eat something that actually tastes good and is good for you and feels good, right? So ever since I stopped compulsively eating this year, I actually feel so much better. I have more time in the day, I have more energy, I'm sleeping better. I wish I could completely stop eating altogether, to be honest, because I look at some of my friends. I had a friend who quit smoking when she was pregnant. So she quit smoking for 8-9 months. She was miserable the whole time. The problem was that she didn't quit completely. She still smoked 1 or 2 cigarettes a day, and she felt she was doing all this hard work, and it was good for the baby because it was so hard. And then I have another friend who just tosses his cigarettes and goes on with his life. And unfortunately, for my food, I have to behave like that first friend and be somewhat miserable all the time, right? Anyways, for some reason, it's so politically incorrect to talk about food choices, but our choice to be 6 feet apart from others, that's perfectly okay for some reason. Oh, it's just so weird. It's just so weird. In terms of going to Japan, I was just thinking about how I'm going to handle the dietary distancing when I'm there. And I realized there's another thing I like in Japan, much more than the food. Hopefully we get rid of the social distancing, because then I can enjoy the other thing that I like in Japan, and then I can continue my dietary distancing. Anyways, practice some good health choice distancing over the next, well, for the rest of your life, but especially until COVID-19 is over.